Okay, so welcome. This is our 20th anniversary, and there are people that have been with us for a long time doing some amazing things. And we wanted to take some time to recognize these people. They're great people in the sector. They understand the nuances of doing business in Africa, what it takes, the kind of attitude, everything that it takes to survive here on the continent, get projects done, and move the sector forward. Not only that, most of them, not all of them, but most of them have been generous enough to support the forum over the last few years. Now, this is not just about people who sponsor the forum. That is not it at all. You'll see there's a number of people who don't. What we wanted to focus on is people who have made a significant contribution to the sector over the last 20 years. We have some corporate awards, and we have some initiative awards. So we're recognizing some initiatives that are all about knowledge transfer and providing that support to the sector which will increase deal flow. So this is important for us. We're looking back at the people who have supported us. We've got people who've come in who actually are thinking of slowing down, shall I phrase it that way? I am joined on stage by Josie and Valeria. So a lot of you will know most of the team, and I'm fortunate enough to have many quite incredible women, dare I say it, in my life. Obviously my wife is my number one, but we have some incredible people here at EnergyNet. I'm delighted to tell you that Valeria, who's been with us for nearly 4 years, after the conference, well, from now, will be taking over the business across Africa. So she will be the director and head of Africa for the business. She is in the office at 7 o'clock pretty much every morning and doesn't leave for a good 12 or 13 hours. So most of you will know her. She is extraordinary. So we're delighted that she will join us on stage and be moving into such an important role for this business. Shadika, who you all know, will be moving for the next 6 months to lead the Latin American business. Shadika, who leads the Africa Energy Forum, really is one of the most extraordinary people and is, my absolute rock in terms of the business. So we're really delighted to kind of make those announcements for Valeria and Shadika, and obviously the rest of the team. We have, yes, please. And obviously the rest of the team involved across the business. Verena and Charlotte and everybody who's here. It's a real team effort. But I wanted to make this a special moment for Valeria, who really does work tirelessly for the continent. So we're great. So these awards are all about attitude, friendships, increasing business, and really just saying thank you. We're going to scoot through them pretty quickly because we want to get to the beach and have some fun. How it's going to work, I'm going to invite the people who we're recognizing onto stage, and they will receive a certificate and then receive congratulations from our ministers, and then take a seat back down in your seats. And then at the end, we're going to have all of the recognized people on stage for a group photograph. As I say, the reason the ministers are here is because they also recognize the contribution that the people who we are thanking, the contribution that they've made to the sector. So we're going to start off. A few of the people I've invited to say a few short words, but not everybody. So we'll get to them as and when they come. I'd like to start off by inviting Professor Anton Eberhard to receive his certificate. Is Professor Anton with us? Here he is, perfect. Chris Weston, the Chief Executive Officer of Agreco. Mohamed Hussein, CEO of Engie. I'm not sure if Amadou is with us. Amadou Hot from the African Development Bank. Namala Nabub Singh, Chief Executive Officer of the Energy Ministry here in Mauritius. I'd like to invite one of my long-standing friends, Simon Curry, to just make some short comments before collecting your recognition. Thank you, Simon.
Wow. We're all trying to remember. So my first AEF was Lausanne, where it was quite a lot hotter than it is here. In fact, it was absolutely stinking inside the room. And I've been hooked ever since. My proudest moments, no question, running the local content sessions, which I got to do for several years, because I'm a Kiwi, a white Kiwi, but I passionately believe in sustainable local content. You've got to love what you do and believe in it. I've been very fortunate to have been involved in closing a number of projects around Africa. My highlights would have to be, having thought about it, would have to be Rwanda, the Kivuwat project, and then the Agahoja Salon solar project. My message, we must continue to do better. We have to focus on low-cost projects. We have to do better around timetables. We've shown what we can do. If we actually focus on standardising, not reinventing the wheel, then we can do this much better and continue to deliver. We will succeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Simon. Pankaj Gupta. Is Pankaj with us? I know Pankaj has been busy. Great. From the World Bank, Pankaj Gupta, thank you. Scott Mackin. I'd like to invite Scott to maybe say a few words as well. He is one of the most prolific investors here, and we're delighted he's here. Scott, we'd like to come and say a couple of words, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Simon. I'm pretty humbled by comments like that. I'm very fortunate to be with an enterprise, Denim Capital, that allows us to do what we do. We've been here for quite some years, South Africa, Ghana, Guinea, now soon Cote d'Ivoire, and we're going into a few other countries where we're bringing projects to life. A lot of hard work, a lot of diligence from people. I feel mostly just fortunate, and I'm going to leave it at that because we have a lot of things to cover. So thank you.
Mark Davies from Norfund. Mark with us. Jason Harlan from Fieldstone.
Thank you. I guess we've been participating in all of the AEFs dating back to the second one. A special thanks to our founder, Clive Ferreira, who's in the audience, my partner. We've been in 47 countries in Africa helping to close deals. I hope everyone on stage and in the audience recognizes we're all in this together. And this is not just about money. This is providing something people need, and Africans working with Africans to make that happen. That's what we need to do. Thanks.
Emmanuel Matz from Proparco. Fantastic. I'm not sure if Joe Tato has been able to get his flight early enough. I know he was questioning whether he was going to get here on time. I don't think Joe has made it in time. Alistair Campbell, Managing Director at Vantage Green X. Bernard van Meteren from FMO. FMO and Bernard have been a long-standing supporter of ours, and we're really delighted that they continue to be here with us. Thank you very much, Bernard. Would you like to?
Within FMO, we've been able to do quite a number of extraordinary transactions, and apart from being part of this community of everyone working on these transactions, where I think we've brought the African continent quite a lot of power, and we hope to continue to get the power of the electricity to everyone. I'd like to thank also FMO and our management, who has allowed us to do a lot of extraordinary things and to invent a lot of structures that normally, if they really have understood what it was, they would have not approved it. But it allowed us to go quite a long way in getting these transactions done. Thank you.
Helen Tarnoy, Managing Director of Aldwych Holdings. Mamadou Gombel, Vice President Africa Energy Solutions at Wotsia. Rensha Van Tonda, Head of Power at Standard Bank. Our next guest is Theophilus Saki. He's a great friend of ours. We've known him for a long time. He's just coming to the conclusion of his project in Ghana, and we're delighted that he is here with us. And I'd love you to say a couple of words, Theo.
Simon. Thank you, everybody. When I first told everyone, my friends, that I was coming to Mauritius to come for a conference, they said that was a lie. I had to tell them that that wasn't a lie, and this is Africa Energy Forum. I must say that over the past 10 years, decade or more, it's been a privilege being part of the Africa Energy Forum. I remember the first one in Paris, or one of the first ones in Paris, where Africa Finance Corporation had just become the lead developer of Sen Power Generation Company. And what we did was to use Africa Energy Forum as one of the vital spaces that we could bring everybody together, our lenders, our sponsors, our consultants, and everyone together to create a space that we could manage the bankability issues that we were having. Fortunately, we were able to do that. I also remember Africa Energy Forum 2012, that was in Berlin, when the Nigerian privatization was just up in full swing, and you could see the Honorable Bat Inaji and his team all trying to get everybody together. All over the years, Africa Energy Forum has been a major place to make some of these difficult decisions and to get some of these impossible things to be done. I'm extremely glad that for the first time it's being held on the African continent in Mauritius. And I do have a dream, and that dream is that it would always be held in Africa. Now, of course, I can dream, right? I think, though, that seriously, we must keep dreaming, because without having those kind of dreams and without a vision such as this, it's going to be very difficult to achieve the unattainable. And we must strive to do that, because the power sector, the challenges that we face are extremely challenging and so difficult that unless we do those things, and thank you so much for what you've been doing, it will never be possible. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Theo. Another great friend, Peter Venn, Head of Africa for Wind Lab. Thank you, Peter. Our next person has really been one of the longest standing supporters of the forum. I'm delighted that he's come here, especially this year, for these awards. David Keith, Senior Vice President at Tetra Tech. David, please come and say a few words.
Well, thank you, Simon. This feels like a penalty kick. I'd like to thank my wife, who's been with me for many Africa Energy Forums, including the first one I ever attended, which was in Edinburgh, the year 2000. So it's 19 years I've been coming off and on, most of those years. The proudest moment, I would say, was in the year 2002 in Lyon, where we actually had a formal bidders conference at the Africa Energy Forum. We had it as a sideshow, the formal bidders conference for the Uganda Electricity Board transaction. It was the property that became Umeme, and some of you know Umeme very well. That was an exciting conference. At the bidders conference, we had the Minister of Finance, we had the Minister of Energy, we had the regulator, the head of the regulatory authority, we had the heads of the power companies that were to be concessioned off, and we had the heads of the unions. We had the unions on board. It was a very exciting bidders conference, and of course, that transaction did close and go forward. It sort of leads me to my advice or lesson learned for the African ministers, is to really focus on your distribution sector, get that sector right, get that sector profitable, get collections up from all customers, including your public sector colleagues. When you go back to the cabinet, please tell all your colleagues to pay their bills, because it's the public sector that is the worst offender on paying bills. And don't worry about it being profitable. It's much more important. Look at this country. The infrastructure of Mauritius, compared to most countries in Africa, is so much farther ahead because they focused on infrastructure rather than focused on prices. Get the prices right, let the tariffs be what they are, don't try to focus on effectiveness first and efficiency second. Thank you all.
Lucy Chege, Head Energy, Environment and ICT of DBSA. Lucy, please join us. Please share a few words with us.
Thank you, Simon. Firstly, I just want to say thank you for the honor and the privilege of receiving this award. I think I also want to say thank you to the broader DBSA team and management, because without the broader support and without the teamwork, none of this would be possible. The continent, we face many challenges, and I think we're all working towards trying to solve those challenges, and I think together as joint stakeholders, we can then find solutions to the many issues arising. And I think lastly, I just want to thank the AEF team, because they've understood the requirements that we have as stakeholders in order to bring us together and to help us to network and to dialogue with each other on an annual basis and also through the various side conferences. So I thank you for the privilege. Thank you.
Bertrand de Laborde from the IFC. David Donaldson, who has been integral to helping us organise this year, and we're delighted. He's been coming for so many years, and we're delighted that he's with us again this year. David Donaldson, Head of Infraventures Africa IFC. Alexander Sarek, Partner Head of Africa Energy and Infrastructure for Brian Cave, Layson Paisner. Henri Paul Bachi Balder, Director Power Systems Development at the African Development Bank. Is Bachi with us? They did all get the memo, I promise you. Mike Pio, Head of Infrastructure, Energy and Telecoms at Nedbank. Paul Kunertz, Chief Executive Officer, Joule Africa. Great to see you, Paul. Paul, would you like to say a few words? Yes.
So I asked Simon before whether I should prepare anything, and he said, no, don't worry, just come up and get the prize. So I haven't prepared anything, Simon. But what I'd like to say, I think, is in thinking about our purpose and values at our company, Joule, we've been thinking about it's the creation of prosperity and allowing the thriving of the countries we work in Africa. And I think that's something that is shared by a lot of people here. Everything that we do, all of us here, we bring our gifts and our talents, and we serve that purpose of creating prosperity and thriving in Africa. And may we see a lot more of it in the future. Thank you, Simon, and thank you all.
Another long-standing friend, Paul Hinks, Chief Executive Officer, Symbian Power. Paul has been through the mill in Tanzania and everywhere, but he continues to push on, and we're delighted that you're here, Paul. I know you've got your family here, so most welcome. Sakilai Mecca, co-head Energy Finance at Nedbank. Vangelis Kamaris, International Operations Director for Metka. John Smeltzer, Director Weber Wenzel. Is John here? One of the corporate awards is Roger Price for WindLab again. So we're delighted that Roger is here. He's not here, so Peter's going to come up again and get it on his behalf. Thank you. One of the first people who I met through Rod and Evelyn and has always been a massive supporter and has done so much for the sector is Clive Ferreira, Director at Gaia Infrastructure. Clive, we would love you to join us, say a few words. He is an absolute stalwart of the sector. Thank you, Clive.
Thanks very much for inviting and giving me the opportunity to speak. In many ways, it's like Groundhog Day, AEF, because we're still speaking about the same projects and we're still hearing we're failing, which is sometimes not good to hear. But I think we need to be prouder of ourselves, and we need to learn a lot more. I mean, many years ago, when we started going, there were maybe 100, 200 people at the conference, and we got quite bored. So we at that stage hosted the last lunch. I think it was in Lille the first time that we started. We were so bored we had to get things going, and we started, making assessments of how we did the last year. And so we awarded stars, and then it was the World Cup in 2006. And I think I awarded the yellow card at that stage, and then it became a red card and so forth. So this year is also a World Cup year, and unfortunately, I think it's gold gridline technology. I think we're still waiting on that one. Thank you very much.
I'm delighted to welcome Leslie Nelson, MG of Sub-Saharan Africa for General Electric. Leslie, please join us. Give us some pearls of wisdom. Thank you.
Unfortunately, I'm not Leslie. He's a much bigger guy than me. So I'm Elise, and I run the power services business for GE in Sub-Saharan Africa. Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, it's a real pleasure for me to be here on behalf of GE. First turbine with GE was installed back in the 70s, early 70s. I wasn't even born by then. And since that time, I think we installed over 46 gigawatts of power in Africa. I think today there's around 250, 300 million people in Africa that run on GE technology. And as everybody here knows, it's very, very difficult to add power on the continent. And we couldn't have done it without all of the partners in the room. Governments first, IPPs, developers, financiers. So thank you very much for all of the support. So you can clap for yourself for this. One of the main reasons of our success has been the fact that early on we've decided to invest in local talent in Africa. One of the big things for GE. So most of the team in the region are African, over 2,000 people. And our businesses are also run by Africans, which means that you don't have to wait weeks to get a proposal. You don't have to wait weeks to get service on your power plants, because our people base here really understand your needs and can deliver for you. So we have over 20 people present here, really committed to Africa, and get in touch with us after the session over the next couple of days so that we work with you to continue to add power to the grid. Thank you very much.
Ben Donovan, partner at Covington. Is Ben with us today? I'm delighted. Our next person was with us in South Africa, and we had a great gas meeting in Durban, and we were talking about black industrialists. We had our first black industrialist conference, and he had such depth knowledge of how this could work, and he kept surprising me with experiences from around the world. And in fact, this company was one of the first 3 sponsors of the very first Africa Energy Forum back in 1999. Shell, I'm delighted to invite Menno Bax to collect the award on behalf of Shell. Thanks a lot. The other sponsor of the very first Africa Energy Forum was Clifford Chance. So I'm delighted to welcome Delphine Sano-Cortino, partner Clifford Chance. And Delphine, perhaps you'd like to say a few words. Thank you.
Thanks, Simon. I think this is a collective prize. The first people I would mention are probably our clients who've had the courage of doing most of the first IPPs that we've seen on Anton Ebro's slides, and we've had the chance to structure and working on them. And aside from that, Clifford Chance, it's 40 years of experience in Africa, 200 lawyers working around the globe on African deals all the time. I just looked at our stats, and I think in the last 12 months, we've been working on power projects supplying over 8 gigawatts over 25 African countries. So thank you very much. We hope we will continue like this. And thank you, the Africa Energy Forum, for this great event. Thank you.
I'm not sure. I'm definitely not going to ask this person to say a few words, because the last time I asked him to say a few words, I think it was about an hour later that we got the microphone back. But I am really thrilled to invite my partner from Nigeria, Idris Mohammed. He's the former CEO of Kaduna Electricity. He's the founder CEO of Delamore Consultancy, and a wonderful friend. So Idris, you're most welcome. We're going to move on. We have 3 awards now, which are for what we call taking the initiative. They are 3 initiatives that have made a significant impact in terms of knowledge transfer, increased deal flow, and have been successful. They're the initiatives that people are talking about and are still going. And I'd like to invite each one of them up individually to collect their awards and to say just a few short words. So the first one is obviously the Africa Legal Support Facility, Stephen Karangizi, CEO.
Thank you very much, Simon. I think I speak on behalf of those that established the initiative. I didn't participate in establishing it, so the colleagues at the African Development Bank and the African ministers who recognize the importance of having a facility that would support them in negotiating these major agreements, and also, as you put it, providing knowledge transfer arrangements whenever this is taking place. I also received this in recognition of my colleagues. I have a team, a wonderful team that I've been working with. One of them has recently left, but I also get it in their name. And I also think that our partnership with you has been fantastic over the past few years. It has enabled us to sell the idea that legal advisory services are also a development facet, which was never recognized before. So I think that is the value of the innovation, and we've already made the mark. We've already closed at least 4 deals, which is a record in the short life of the facility. Unlike the other institutions, we've been around for a short time. So we hope there's a lot in the pipeline to continue doing the same work we are doing. And thank you very much to all the partners, particularly the governments, the private sector that negotiates across the table, the governments that finance us, the institutions, especially the African Development Bank that finances us, and all the other donors that also recognize our work and finance us. Thank you very much.
The next initiative is one which I think probably started off a number of years ago quite controversially. I think you could say there were a number of naysayers, but I think they have proved everybody wrong, and we are great partners on a number of our programs, including obviously our Powering Africa Summit, which is in Washington. Here on behalf of Power Africa is Matt Rees, Deputy CEO, who I'd love to invite to the stage to say a few words.
Thanks very much, Simon. It's great to be with everybody today. I really, no small doubt, since 2014 is when we first partnered with Power Africa, and that was just into year one of the Powering Africa initiative. I can say without question that were it not for our partnership with AEF, that we wouldn't be where we are at today. They recognized there was something unique about what the United States government was trying to achieve in convening all 12 U.S. government agencies into one easily accessed box, a toolbox that you can now call the Power Africa Coordinating Unit. And he's also provided us the forum in AEF each year in Washington and in the forums overseas of talking about and learning together what we've been able to achieve and what we aim to achieve going forward. And in no small part, we thank AEF and each one of you in the audience, the Power Africa partners, for helping us demonstrate to our administration today that there is value in Powering Africa going forward for another 5 years. So thank you all very much, and it's always great to be with you.
Our next award is for one which was talked about a lot as a shining light in the earlier session. So I'm delighted to invite Cornelia Pencil, Principal Project Manager for Infrastructure, Southern Africa of the Get Fit program. Please join us, say a few words. Thank you.
Yeah, many thanks. First, I have to thank the colleagues who are actually working on the Get Fit programs. We feel very honored to receive that prize. We had the opportunity to present the initiative many times here in the forum. We're very pleased to do so. We have started out the initiative in Uganda 5 years ago, and I think we have proven that's kind of a very successful approach. It's a holistic approach which is supposed to tackle all the hurdles that we have to overcome to create a successful renewable energy IPP framework. And I think in Uganda it has been very successful. It's now the country with the second largest number of IPPs after South Africa. And now we started out this year in Zambia. We want to build on the success in Uganda, and we hope we're going to be equally successful. Yeah, and many thanks.
So we're down to our last two. Perhaps I may be cheeky and perhaps ask His Excellency the Deputy Minister to join me. Our next award, please. Our next award is a special recognition award. The person who we are recognizing for their contribution to the sector is not from the private sector. He is from the public sector, but has laid the foundations for huge private sector investment across West Africa. He was the CEO of Gridco, is now the senior advisor to the minister. I'm delighted to provide this special recognition for William Amuna of Ghana. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Simon. Let me acknowledge the presence of course, my Deputy Minister, and then the board chairman of Gridco, Ambassador Cabral Ami here, I think he's around. And to tell you that we value AEF so much, there are actually 4 CEOs from the electricity sector in Ghana present here today. We have the CEO of the Volta River Authority. We have the CEO of Gridco. We have the CEO of ECG. They all happen to be my classmates anyway. And then we have the CEO of Sen Power. It means we value this so much. Now, you need to be present in an African village where electricity gets to for the very first time. You see that the children are really smiling. The children are very happy. They know they can read in the night. We as stakeholders must make the children of Africa smile. And I think this forum is a very good one. Africa Energy Forum is bringing all the stakeholders together to continue to make these children smile. And I would encourage everybody to come here every time we have such a function, especially when you come back to Mauritius. I mean, I think I don't mind you having it here again in Mauritius the next time. Such a beautiful place. The setting is so beautiful. You know. So we would continue to be part of this forum and ensure that electrification of Africa will be 100% in the very near future. Thank you very much, and thanks so much, AEF.
Our next award is to Aloni Bobise of Africa 50. And there's a reason he's going last, but I'm going to leave him to tell you about that. Alain.
Well, thank you very much, Simon. I'm very honored and delighted to receive this award. Really, Africa 50 is an African initiative. It's an African-led initiative. Only African countries are shareholders of Class A of Africa 50. I have my brother, Minister Reba from Morocco, my brother, Minister Gatete from Rwanda. These are 2 countries, big shareholders. Ghana is also many countries. We have 25 African country shareholders today, soon to be 27, and we hope to get all African countries as shareholders of Africa 50 to accelerate the pace of investment, private investment in infrastructure, mainly power on the continent. But the reasons I'm also here, in addition to the award, which I'm very thankful for, is because I like to recognize 2 special people. Very, very special. And thank you again. It's even more important as an award than the award. Thank you, Simon and Sidika, for choosing me to present this special recognition to Rod and Evelyn Cargill that I come to the stage at this point. Please. Yeah, I'm gonna say a few things. I hope I won't embarrass you, but I will say a few things. Of course, Rod and Evelyn, you are the founders of EnergyNet and this forum, which we have all come to appreciate so much. And, 20 years is indeed a long time. Back when I attended my first Africa Energy Forum, it was in Edinburgh, Scotland in 2000. I think we had a bit more hair. Excuse myself, I had more hair then. Rod, you also had more hair then. We had a less waistline, speaking to myself at least. Here we are, we still are, we're a bit older, but we are wiser. And definitely we have better weather here in Mauritius than back then in Scotland, in Edinburgh. Africa Energy was younger then too. In many ways, it was an adolescent whose promise was matched by his problems, but whose outlook, like the weather, was also unpredictable. It took visionaries like Rod, yourself, and Evelyn to see what was needed to get it to the next stage. And this was real energy that you had. From its modest beginning, with only 2,000 delegates and 2 sponsors, the Africa Energy Forum has become today the premier continental energy sector event. Rod and Evelyn's vision of providing a marketplace where we can gather together to exchange ideas, and more importantly, to transact deals, this has become a reality. What we discussed today in this forum really matters. It is making a real difference, from bringing power to the continent and improving the life of Africans, as one of my brothers was saying, giving smile to children and population of Africa. So I thank you on behalf of the many stakeholders actively involved in the energy sector in Africa, including my organization, Africa 50, but also the sponsor organization of Africa 50, which is the African Development Bank. I thank you very much, and I'm proud to have been a participant from the start. Thank you very much, Rod.
This is very strange. It's a long time since I've been on the stage. I'm just going to say one word, apart from thanking Simon and his team for producing such a large event. It is that I'm really, really, really thrilled that the problem of developing the electricity sector in Africa is on the map and seems, from what I've heard this morning, to be there with people talking and trying to improve and go over all the difficulties that are encountered. So many thanks to all the people that have supported us over the 20 years, continuing with the new energy team that you encountered, and many thanks for having enabled us to come here to this lovely location, which required a lot of work, I'm sure. So many thanks to all of you for your support.
I'd just like to reiterate that, and really, it couldn't have been done without, it's an award for us too, but it should really be to the EnergyNet team, who've taken our ethos, expanded it incredibly, and grown the organization beyond anything we could have imagined. And I really think we should all take this opportunity to thank Simon and his team for, first of all, putting on a tremendous event here. The logistics are incredible. And really, we should thank them. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. This conference, this forum is about relationships, friendships, and hopefully from the people who you've seen, a lot of your friends, you'll feel so much love and friendship and commitment to each other. The history is extraordinary, so we're delighted to be a part of this. That is the end of the awards. We're going to go down to the beach. We're going to have a good party, have some fireworks. I'd like to invite the award winners onto stage, and we'd love to have a group photograph with everybody. We can really commemorate this and share it with everybody. So if I could have the award winners, we'll love to have a group photograph. Thank you very much.
No one who to share. Boy, you got it back, but I got something good. I wanna treat you good in every